All right, we're live. It's Prop the Mic, presented by Props.cash. We're here today, coming off a nice little NFL weekend. Didn't have a ton of picks this weekend, doing some family stuff. We didn't do our normal Big Friday pod. We did the Thanksgiving NFL pod. But now we're back in our favorite little wheelhouse here for NBA. A nice 5-game slate. You ready, Dave?
I am. Our followers, you guys said let's get more NBA in the mix. So we just released our schedule for this week. We're going to cover an NBA today, tomorrow, Thursday, and then Friday we're back to our big Friday football pod. Can't miss out on that. We're like up 80 units this year. We can't totally abandon NFL, but we do love NBA, and we're diving into that heavy for the first half of the week.
Yeah, you don't have to twist our arms to get us to do some NBA. So
yeah, and speaking of which, next week is a big week for the NBA. So this week is the last week of the group play for the in-season tournament. Next week starts out what they call the knockout rounds, which is basically the 8 teams that advance start to play in a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and ultimately the final. That's going to be a lot of fun because that is very much like March Madness. I think it's single elimination style. So it's basically like a whole week of game 7s, which will be a lot of fun.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
But yeah, let's not jump ahead too far. We got 5 games tonight. So you ready to dive into them?
Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. All right, so the first we got the Wizards, who are 2-14, going up against the Pistons, 2-14. So a combined 4 wins amongst these two teams. Pistons are favored -2.5 at home. Total is 236.5. So it's not going to be the prettiest basketball game, but there should be a good amount of scoring. Let's start with the matchups. What do you like from a matchup standpoint?
All right. In this game here, we can look at Cade. You have Cade's in a nice spot here. I didn't end up actually on any picks for him, but definitely a nice spot here. I'm just pulling up my sheet here. I like the pick I was on in this game was going back to Thompson here for the rebounds. I love this guy. Again, is in the 100th percentile amongst forwards. He's like, you see him listed as shooting guard here, but he actually plays most of his time split between small forward and power forward. And the percentiles for forwards obviously do more rebounding than backcourt guys do. So the fact that he, a guy who's like a borderline, guard/forward, categorized as a forward in the 100th percentile amongst forwards in rebounding, really good. And awesome comps for this. So his line's 8.5 rebounds, -122 on FanDuel. Did it go up? We still get it at 8.5.
-134. It's still okay. Within striking range, but about to go up to 9.5.
It's going to get bumped to 9.5 here, but I love this. Listen, these comps are great. You had Saddiq Bey with 9 rebounds, Miles Bridges. Here, if you want to go the guys who are a little bit more, not as great, but still pretty good and nice rebounding outputs for like what their lines would be in these games. Derek Jones Jr. 7 rebounds, Jimmy Butler 7, DeAndre Hunter 7, Sam Hauser 8. So a lot of nice rebounding from against Washington. Also, they're playing on 2 days rest today. In the only 2 games he's played on 2 days rest career, he's cleared in both of there you go, both those games, 9 and 10 rebounds. So going back to him, I know he let us down the other day but I'm going back to him in this spot against Washington. Washington's just a great team to target overs for props in general. What do you say?
Yeah, I meant to do this before the show, but I didn't get to. I kind of feel like he comes out very aggressively rebounding. Like, yeah, I mean this is what I was thinking. He gets like 7, 7, 11, 9, 6, 6, like all those big rebounds in the first half, and then the second half he kind of dwindles.
Called that out.
Yeah, I'm observing that from betting on him a couple times, and I don't know what's up with that. I don't know if his minutes are lower in the second half. Yeah, I mean, he plays 12, 13, 11 in the second half. The last 3 games, he played 17, 9, and 18. So that's my only caution is, just kind of like what he's going to do in the second half. But this is a really good matchup. I mean, he might clear this by the third quarter. So let's go with it again tonight. What you can do to kind of protect yourself a little bit, if he has like 8.5 rebounds, if that's the line you get, and he's got like 6 at halftime,
Mhm.
his live bet might be up to 9.5 or 10.5 at that point. You could hedge a little bit at halftime and kind of take the under on 10.5. And then maybe you can even middle it and win the under and the over. So that's something
Interesting
that I might
strategy
do if
there.
I end up playing this. And then you protect yourself if he does have a low second half. So
That's
um,
always fun, trying to hit a nice
that's
middle.
always fun. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
land right in the middle and you hit the over and the under on the same prop, that's
Yes.
amazing. Doesn't
That
get better.
is. That is.
All right, what else do you like in this game?
That was actually all I had in this game. I don't know. What'd
Yeah,
you
let's
have?
let's look at Cade because you were talking about Cade.
Yeah.
I mean, I think when Josh was on the other day, we were talking about Cade at home, versus away. He's definitely a better home player, although he did crush the other day on the road. 24.5 points at home seems like a pretty good spot here in a 236.5 point game. So I think that's probably good.
Yep.
I kind of like his assists even more. If you look at, it's up to 7.5. You can pay the juice at -150 on DraftKings for 6.5. If you look at opposing point guards versus Washington, as you were kind of mentioning, Trey missed his line, finished with 10, but still
Hmm.
had 10, right? Like Lillard had 10, LaMelo had 13, Lillard had another 7, Jalen Brunson had 7. So like those elite point guards are really crushing
Yeah.
against Detroit. Halliburton had 11, Trey Young had 10 the other time they played. So lots of good data points to say go for this one. So I think 6.5 is nice. I'd probably even play for plus money at 7.5. What do you think?
Yeah, I like that. All his combos also are popping out here in our model. He's if you just look at let's just take the all inclusive PRA one, seventh best PRA matchup on the entire board today. So I think that's good. I know one of our someone on X pointed out point guard rebounds against I believe against Washington, right? That was it.
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Which I think if you scrolled pointing out was the opponent's
Yeah, right
rebound.
there.
Yeah, look at all green checks. Look at that.
Yeah, especially in the last like
Yeah.
2 weeks. Yeah, every point guard is rebounding really well against them. So yeah, I think that's a good spot. Probably the safest thing, like you were saying, is just go with the PRA. That seems to be all encompassing for a really good game from him. So
That or what I like to do, especially I was before Cade only played whatever 11 or 12 games last season. But one of the things he's one of the guys I like to do this on, somebody who gets to your who puts up consistent numbers in all three categories, is do like an SGP on Cade at you see here he gets to 21 points a lot, 20. If you put him at like 20 21 points and 3 and 5 assists, something like that, 6
yeah,
assists, something like that's also very nice. I like to do those correlated sort of SGPs on a single player. That might be something I'm going to look at on Cade here.
yeah, I like that. That's a good approach.
Yeah.
Going back to the comment on X from Double R, or our guy Double R.
Yeah.
Basically was pointing out rebounds versus Washington and also points for point guards against Detroit. So very good observation using props.cash. If you look, point guards against Detroit is a really good matchup. I like Tyus Jones here. If you look, last 6 straight point guards have cleared their lines.
Yeah.
Halliburton put up 26, Nembhard 13, Reggie Jackson 21, Schroeder 17. So some pretty good comps for Tyus Jones, not just all stars, but like kind of secondary point guards in the league. 12.5 points seems pretty good. I think you can get it for
11 and a half on
11 and a
DK,
half
yeah.
on a couple of books
Oh,
as
even,
well.
yeah,
So I like
FanDuel,
that.
yeah.
I like that even better. So let's go with Tyus Jones, 11 and a half points.
He's been playing well lately too. Yeah, right there. He had that 22-point game again. That was Milwaukee, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Milwaukee's a, a great matchup for point guard.
Yeah.
So, we'll next time they play, we'll definitely be going point guard against Milwaukee. So
Nice. Good call.
Yep, for sure. Keep the questions coming on X. If the live chat is not available, feel free to put them in the comments on the post as well. All right, let's go on to the Blazers at the Pacers. Blazers are also struggling this season. 4 and 12 on the season, going up against the Pacers 9-6. Pacers are minus 12.5 at home. Totals 240.5. So big spread, but also big scoring expectations. So what do you like here?
Wow, that's a big spread in this game.
Yes, sir.
So here we like so we already posted up today Brogdon. That was our first Brogdon pick of this new NBA season, right?
Yeah, we
good.
actually teased it a little bit yesterday because he was super consistent, getting to like 18 points. Nailed that yesterday. We posted this up early this morning at 17.5, and it already rose up to 20.5. I actually locked in 25 points at plus 400 earlier today too, and I still think that's a pretty good bet. He doesn't really get to 25 very often, even if you date back to last year, but this is only the second time that he's playing against Indy since he was traded from Indy to Boston. And the previous time he had a pretty big game, put up 24 points against them. And that was on Boston, where he was like the fifth option scoring. Now he's might be the number one option scoring with Simons out. So I think this is a good play today. Anywhere between 20 to 25 points, depending on how much risk you want to take.
Love it. We love
right.
Brogdon
What else?
here.
We love Brogdon.
Points wise, we can look at obviously Brogdon. Turner's in a nice matchup here. Jalen Smith, I don't see lines out on him. That's points. Rebounds, Jalen Smith also has the best rebounding matchup in this game. Brogdon's also good. Shaedon Sharpe, nice. And assists, not as great, but the one that's sticking out the most is actually where I ended up here with Tyrese Halliburton. I like his over 11.5 assists, minus 130 on FanDuel. They're playing on 2 days rest today. He's got some nice numbers. Last 3 games on 2 days rest, 17, 13, and 19 assists in his last 3 games with extra rest. If you click to go back to last year, you'll throw in that 19 assist game at the end of the season last year.
Wow.
His last 3 games on 2 days rest at home. So that includes that 19, the 15, and 13 that you see there. So really nice spot. I think if we go down and look at some point guards, nobody gets the volume of assists that Halliburton does really in the entire league. But you can see what some other point guards have done. I don't know if it's D'Angelo Russell, nice output there. So it seems seems a little low. Yeah, Russell Westbrook.
But there's no like Trae Young might be the only other comp
exactly.
to this guy.
He's a hard guy to comp. Yeah. So I think he's good for 12 assists in this game.
Yeah, I was actually the other day on the pod, I was pulling up something. I'm trying to pull it up right now. So I'll give you the top 3 players who lead the league in touches, right? I guess this is per game. So Jokic leads the league with 103. And Halliburton's number 2 with 94 touches per game, right? And Sabonis is number 3 with 91. So the ball is like constantly in this guy's hand, and the pace at which they play really kind of forces their opponents to speed up too. So there's just constant possessions. I think this is a really good play. It'll be a fun game to watch. It won't be the prettiest, but it'll be a lot of scoring, I think.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got in this one?
In this one, you have any?
Not really. I mean, Jeremy Grant was popping a little bit in terms of the matchup. Let me see if you go back I'll just show you kind of how I found that. If you go back on props.cash, you could see this new column was added, which is amazing. DVP. So it's basically just showing how that position, power forward, ranks against opposing teams. So Indiana's 28th best at stopping the opposing power forward, which means they're the third worst in the league. So I think Jeremy Grant's probably in a good spot. He's also got a pretty good hit rate at 60% of his last 5 games. But that line is pretty high. So I don't know if were you on Jeremy Grant at all?
No, but I was on the other big.
Ayton.
Okay. Oh man, you don't usually play Ayton, so
no, I know, but this was looking nice. His line's 14.5 points. You still get it at 14?
Yep, at DK you can get it for minus 135.
Okay, I got it. It was minus 125 when I got it here. So some really nice comps. Basically, he's not a 3-point guy. So we're looking at bigs that do their scoring at the rim and like from long mid range. That's kind of his game here. You look at some bigs that do their scoring at the rim. Clint Capella had 14, Mo Wagner 16, Giannis 54, Mark Williams 27, Evan Mobley 14 and 33. Then if you go to the a little bit more shooting from further out, Siakam, Caro 24, Embiid 39, 37, John 14, Zach Collins 14, PJ Washington 15, Vucevic 24, Gallinari 16, Kyle Kuzma. I mean, this guy
you left off Giannis at 54.
No, I said Giannis 54.
Oh, you did say I didn't.
I did. He was in the first group. Yeah.
If there's any player who does the scoring at the rim, it's Giannis. But Ayton's got probably a little bit more range than Giannis.
Yes.
So I think this will be a pretty good play for him. Pretty good matchup. I like that.
Yeah, this is pretty good. I think this line is a little bit low for this game. He actually played Indiana on a back-to-back last season and had 22 points in that game. He's cleared in 7 of his last 9 back-to-backs, averaging 21.7 points per game over those.
Unfortunately, the thing I don't like as much is
the 2 misses from the 7 out of 9 were the 2 games on a back-to-back this season. So a little bit of pause there, but I think he's good. I'm seeing is what all these other bigs have done against Indiana.
Yeah, I mean he's either good for 18 points in the game, or he's good for 3 fouls in the first 4 minutes. So we're gonna cross our fingers and hope we get the 18 points. But you never know with Ayton. You get a different player every game.
Yeah,
he is shaping into a bit of an every other AD here. You notice that?
So that means we're that. Yeah. So then we're good. We're good.
We're good, right? Look at that.
Yeah, he was down
that
last
the AD
game,
pattern from last year.
That's right.
All right. Speaking of AD, let's move on. We got the Lakers 10-7 going up against the Sixers 11-5. Sixers are minus 5.5 at home. Embiid should be back in the lineup. 231.5 is the total, which is actually pretty high for a Sixers game. What do you like here?
AD in this game.
So he's got some pretty nice stats against Embiid in his career. His line's 22.5 points, minus 115 on DK. His last 2 games against Embiid, he had the exact same point and rebound line. 31 points, 12 rebounds in his last 2 games against Embiid. Played 34 and 36 minutes in those 2 games. He's played him 7 times, though, in his career, averaging 24 points and 11.9, just shy of 12 rebounds per game against Embiid over games.
Against Embiid,
he's cleared this line in 6 of 9 at home this season. When you look, though, Anthony Davis is one guy. I'm not a big fan of the 1-day rest split. I feel like that's just like normal. It's not something I look at. I look at 0 days rest. I look at 2 days rest. 1-day rest is just kind of your normal whatever. So it's not usually a split that I look at. But for a guy like AD, who like rest seems to be very important to him, I looked at what does he do on regular rest? 5 of his last 6 games at home on 1-day rest. Is that not what we're seeing?
He's on the road today though. This game's in Philly.
Oh, I'm sorry, I messed that up.
But in terms of rest, yeah, I mean he's still 5 out of the last 8 games this season.
Yeah, okay.
On 1-day rest, so still pretty good positive trend. 63% hit rate. And like you said, I think the historical matchup. I think this game is going to be like Embiid and AD just going back and forth all game. That's kind of how it feels, right?
Yeah, I think so. And you know, for as good as a defender as Embiid is, and as you know, Chet Holmgren had 33 points on this Philly team. But Embiid didn't play, right? Embiid was out, or Embiid did play that game.
I don't
One on
recall.
over this weekend. He did. He sat that game, I believe, right?
Yeah, the last game. Yeah, he was out.
Oh, he did
game.
play.
No, yeah, he played in that one. Sorry,
He played.
He missed the game after that.
35 point. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So regardless, I just want to look at some of the comps to AD against Philly this season. So Chet obviously had 33 in that game. Jared Allen recently 26. Porzingis 29. Cat 23. Kuzma 28. Giannis 23. Obi Toppin 27. KD had 31. So these are some good 80s, and guys are unicorny and kind of hard to comp. But between those, all those guys crossing this line by quite a bit, I think this is here.
Yeah, I mean power forwards especially. Centers have a pretty good track record against Philly. Power forwards, I mean, look at all that green there too. So,
yeah.
I don't know what is that. LeBron? Is LeBron in a pretty good spot too for tonight?
Yeah. His line's a little higher.
So, a little higher. Yeah, a little high for LeBron. Yeah. You never know what you're getting in terms of minutes. Yeah. All right. Anybody else on the Lakers side?
I also like AD's rebounds in this. I mean, he's averaged 12 rebounds in 7 games against Embiid, a couple games with 16 rebounds against Embiid. Like I mentioned already, 12 rebounds in both his last 2 games against Embiid. And also nice comps. Rudy Gobert had 11, Jared Allen 13.
And then guys that
AD rebounds at his volume is higher than guys like Nurk, but even Nurk had 9. Pirtle had 9. Ayton had 9. Jalen Johnson 10. Had 12 against Philly. So I think this is also a nice spot for AD to get 12 boards here.
Yeah, I mean, just to throw something out, like you were saying, alted down lines, you can get AD for 20 points and 10 rebounds on FanDuel for -130. So you can use that kind of as a starting place to build a parlay. But I mean, if you look, I mean, I guess he either scores like 18 or he scores like almost 30. So I guess maybe the points isn't as valuable, but the 10 rebounds seems to be a really good spot for him, right? He's got a super high hit rate at 10. So so just think about that. Maybe do that, or maybe just take the straight points line and throw 10 rebounds on it as well, just to juice that to a plus money parlay. That's another way. All right.
Nice angle. Yeah. Would you have anything from this game?
Yeah, I mean, I think Embiid is a good play here. I also did kind of an alted parlay on him. I mean, first of all, just look at his last 8 games. He's scored 30 points or more in 7 out of the last 8 games. If we bring the line down on cash to 29.5, so that's a lot of green. He also has a pretty good track record against the Lakers. Put up 38 and 35 in the past 2 performances. So. Again, I think this is just going to be a battle of the big men. Hopefully they both stay out of foul trouble and just score a lot. But I liked Embiid. I also think Embiid's in a good spot for assists tonight. Assists against the Lakers, big men assists against the Lakers is one of the top matchups. If you look at all that green on props.cash. Nobody's putting up huge numbers, but Sabonis put up 7. That's probably the most comparable. Şengün put up 5. I'm a little cautious about playing the full 6.5. Although if you look at Embiid's numbers, he's just crushing. 7,
I know
6,
the one
7,
miss
8,
with
9,
the 5 was the one
5,
when we had him.
Yeah, that was the game we played him.
Yeah.
He's coming so close to a triple double too. I think it might almost be worth just like sprinkling something on a triple
Yeah.
double every game, because that's usually around plus 2,000. But I think again, if you want to be safe in this game because of potential foul trouble, I think putting Embiid at 5 assists and 30 points, you put those two together, you get that for minus 101 on FanDuel. I think that's another good play in this game.
I like that. You could tack
All
on
right.
AD points. Then
Oh
we're really
boy.
talking.
Oh, we're putting that together.
That's a
We're
four-legger that I think shapes up nicely for this game.
Yeah, we'll get over plus 200 for that one. So let's
Yeah.
put all this
We'll
stuff together.
we'll cook
and
that
make
one
something
up
nice.
after this. Get it
Very
up on
nice.
X. Yeah.
All right. I don't know what's your read on Maxey in this game. You think he's in a good spot, bad spot? Point guards versus the Lakers.
Maxey, didn't look at him too much. Obviously, I guess because he's not really popping it. But let me pull him up.
Yeah, I mean,
So, yeah, it's
if you
not
just look while you're doing that, on props at cash, the point guards versus LA are kind of up and down, up and down. But what I
Mhm.
did see is like the ones that I would consider to be the most Luka, De'Aaron Fox twice, right? Fox against the Lakers recently, and Fox again against the Lakers back in October. He put up 37. Those are the guys that I think
Yeah.
are good comps for Maxey,
Mhm.
and they all put up nearly 30 points. So I think this
Mm.
is probably, even though it's not the best matchup on the paper, I think he's probably also in a good spot to score 26, 27 points tonight. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, it's not screaming out in the matchup here, but like you said, if you really dig a little bit deeper and
have a curated look at the point guards.
that match up the best to Maxey, yeah, seems like a good one. Yeah, I have a feeling like you mentioned already, this is a higher point total than you would expect from this game, right? So
Yeah.
they're thinking this is going to be a little bit of a back and forth, which is not usually how these teams play, right? They're more of like a half
No.
court kind of, they're not transition teams. But it would be fun if this was a up and down sort of fast paced game. I would love that.
Yeah, I mean Harden's not in the game anymore, so that eliminates
That
him
is
like
true.
dribbling the ball through his legs 30 times per possession. So that'll speed up the pace of play a little bit. What I will say,
Shading
last
Harden.
comment on Maxey.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like when he's good, but he hasn't been good in a while.
No.
Maxey is a much better road player so far this year. We pointed that out in one of our plays of the day about a week or two ago. So that's the only comment I would say. He's averaging 26 points on the road, and at home he's averaging he's averaging 26.7 at home, but that's mostly because he had this one 50-point game. So he's more consistently hitting on the road. But so again, it's not. I think it's a lean. Embiid, AD, those are the main plays for this game. Okay.
Yeah, I think so. All right.
Let's go. Let's move on. We got the Pelicans 9-8 going up against the Jazz 5-11. Jazz are plus 5.5 at home. Total is nice 230.5. These two teams just played the other day, but it's hard to really read into much from that game because really Zion sat out on one side, and Clarkson and Markkanen were out on the other side. So I think most of those guys are back. Although I think Markkanen is still questionable. So
yeah.
What do you like in terms of matchups here?
All right. So Zion actually has the number one across all 5 games, or however many games there are today. Across all the games today. So he has the
I have a couple
plays.
Good matchups here. Joe Val as well.
Herb Jones on the Utah side. You'd want to look at your guards in Sexton and Clarkson. Rebounding wise in this game, Markkanen is out. So not great. Walker Kessler, Kelly Olynyk, some decent spots here for rebounding. And I also could look at Dyson Daniels on the New Orleans side. And then when we get to assists, THT, one of my favorites, in a great spot. Kelly Olynyk, Herb Jones, Dyson Daniels as well. So my plays though are all over Zion in this game. Were you on Zion too?
Yeah, I mean, I think his scoring was definitely popping. Is that where you went with?
Yeah,
I actually like
his points and his assist. I like them separately. Let's start with his points. 25.5 points. I do love him at 25 though. Unfortunately 25 is minus 150, but he gets to 24, 25 a lot. So I'll get back to this in a second, but let's look at his straight line first. He's cleared this in
4 games.
If you did get it at 25 though, it would be 4 of his last 4. Also cleared in his last 3 games against Utah at the 25. So his last 3 games against Utah, 25, 26, 31. So you keep hearing this 25 number. So something weird. Are you seeing? Did you just adjust that line down, or it's? Oh yeah,
I did. I brought it down just to
Okay,
reflect
okay.
what you were saying.
Gotcha. And then some comps.
Here against Utah, AD had
26, Banchero 30, Jokic 27, Kawhi 25, Jeremy Grant 30 and 26. So those are another, Zion's another guy who's hard to comp, but I think between those are some pretty decent.
Look at the power forwards. The last 6 straight power forwards and 8 out of the last 9 power forwards have cleared.
Yeah, look at that.
Pretty good. Really good. Yeah. The problem with Zion is like he's got such a limited game. I mean, he's got such an awesome game, fun game to watch, but his game is like all around the rim. So it's like he's got to work so hard for these these points, right? I think he's made 1 3-pointer this year, so it's all going to happen off.
But that's why I like these comps. That's a lot of AD's game too. He had 26. That's Jeremy Grant 30 and 26. Even Banchero is nice in this. So I like that. So I was also on Zion's assists here. This is also 4.5 assists is minus 150. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to throw one more in. Aaron Gordon, who I think has a very similar game to Zion, is scored 21 on a line of 14.5. So I think that's it. That's probably between him and Banchero. Those are probably the best comps. So
good one. I missed that one
more now.
Yeah.
His assists at 4.5, right? You said.
Yeah. So also pricey at minus 154. So I have something I'll get to in one sec to maybe combat that. But I like this. LeBron had 9 assists in the same game. AD had 4 assists against Utah. Kyle Anderson, who actually plays as a big quite a bit, he had 6. Banchero 5. Kawhi 5 in 5 straight games. If you do bring it down to 4, he's cleared in 6 straight games. So let me get to that right now.
Point and assist parlay is a nice spot here. If you put him at 25 points and 5 assists, you can get that at plus 168.
Oh wow!
25 points and 4 assists is plus 112. So I think those
are both great spots for Zion and around the the minus 150s. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, what I would say is you also nice feature on Props.cash. You can go down. Big reason why the beginning of the season was so low is McCollum was playing. So
CJ,
if you look at the games where CJ is out, it's an even better story. Point Zion is back. So although my favorite Pelican, Jose Alvarado, is back too. So he might be stealing a little bit of the point duties from Zion. But I think it's a good play. I think 5 assists, 25 points. That's a nice one.
It's a nice little parlay on Zion today. Yeah.
All right. Anybody else in this game?
I didn't end up with anyone else
in this game.
What I will say, I just mentioned this guy. I think Jose Alvarado for a steal whenever that becomes available is a really good bet. Utah is number 1 in the league in steals allowed. Basically meaning how many steals they're giving up to their opponents. 9.3 steals per game. And I think they just gave up 10 in the last game versus New Orleans.
Wow.
Alvarado, since he came back, First game back, 0 steals, whatever, he was ramping up. Second game back, he had 3. Third game back, 1. Last game versus the Jazz, he had 2 steals. Minutes are on the rise. I think he was playing like 15, 16 minutes. Now he's going to be playing probably closer to 20. I think he's in a really good spot. So I'm curious to see when that does come out, where that line is released. I don't see it yet, but I do think, just going down the list, you got Joe Val at plus 105, Dyson Daniels plus 115, Zion, maybe for 2 steals, Ingram for 1 steal. I think you can put something together pretty nice. Herb Jones is always good for steals. You could probably put a couple of these guys together for 1 steal, maybe like Herb 1 steal, Zion 1 steal, Alvarado 1 steal. I think Utah just coughs up the ball so much. So
Zion,
those are
putting
good.
Zion in there for a steal.
Yeah, man, look at that.
Okay.
When he wants it.
When he wants it, I guess. Yeah.
and Joe Val seems to be pretty consistent. The big guys,
Joe Val I trust, but
they take up space and the ball just ends up in their hands on a deflection. So anyway, I think look for opportunities. Maybe we'll post something closer to game time for steals against Utah. I think that's a good spot.
Nice.
All right, let's finish it off. We got the Nuggets at the Clippers. Nuggets are 11-6 on the season. Clippers are 7-8. Starting to right the ship a little bit. Not sold yet, but Clippers are -5.5 at home. Is that right? Clippers are favored in this game. Do I have that right?
I guess. I guess no Murray, no Gordon.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Actually, the Clippers are -7.5 now. So I think it was 5.5 before Gordon was announced. Total in this game is 218.5. That's down from 220.5 earlier today. So yeah, like you mentioned, Jamal Murray's on pretty close to returning, but he's not back yet, and Aaron Gordon is out tonight. So very thin Nuggets lineup, but that should yield some opportunities for us here, I think. What do you like from a matchup standpoint?
All right, scoring wise, Mike Jr.'s at the top of the heap here for this game, followed right behind James Harden and Norm Powell. Have your steps on paper here for scoring. Rebounding, also, we can look at Michael Porter Jr. In a phenomenal rebounding matchup. Christian Braun as well. That's really it there. And then assists, we can look at nice spot, Jokic. That's really those two. So those are the guys we're going to want to look at in this game. I
was on Terrence Mann.
I loved what I saw in the game on Saturday night. The dude was just all over the place. He had a monster game. 14 field goal attempts, got to the line 4 times, played 32 minutes. I think they're going to want to build on this success. They seem to have been playing well now that Terrence Mann has started to pick up his game a little bit. He was in their closing unit. Harden's on the bench. Mann was out there. He's had some nice success. So I actually like his points and assists separately. I think that they're also probably a good play if you want to. Let's start with the points. He's cleared in 3 of his last 5 against Denver, but he did clear in both games against Denver in LA, which I thought was nice. So I'm really riding. This is kind of like riding the hot hand. That performance he had. It seemed like they were looking to feed him the ball. There was some assists from Kawhi. There was some assists from PG. I think they're trying to get him more involved in the offense here and get his game to the next level, because I think they're going to need his youth and his legs down the stretch. So I like his points. I also like his 2.5 assists. He's cleared this in 3 of 4 at home. 4 of his last 5 against Denver, which was nice. And also the 2 games at home in LA, 4 assists and 5 assists in those 2 games against Denver.
Wow.
Yeah. Some reason he's been playing Denver pretty well. If you wanted to put 8 points and 2 assists together on a man parlay, you get plus 172, which I thought was nice for 8 points and 2 assists. So what do you say? I know we were on him, his RA, right, on Saturday night in that
Yeah,
game. He did all his.
we
He
just
did all this.
yeah, I was thinking about putting his PRA out there, and we ended up going with his
Yeah.
RA. We just have a bad track record with Terrence Mann.
We
I
do.
would
We
say
do.
we've probably hit like 10% of the Terrence Mann picks. So the data is all saying play this, but I don't know.
I feel like the reason we have
whatever
trouble with Mann is like his minutes are definitely like historically very up and down, right? But I
They
feel
are.
like yeah, but recently I just think, you know, seeing what he did in that game, you know, this is one of the contenders. You know, they went from playing the Mavs, which is, you know, another one of the contenders, to playing well, that's a lot of green there. What are you looking at?
Yeah, so exactly minutes. If he plays 29 plus minutes, which he played the other day,
Yeah.
he's got a 20 for 21 hit rate over the last year and a half. So
Wow.
you're right. It's all about minutes. We can drop that filter down a little bit. Even if you get to 25,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you're still at an 85% hit rate. If you get to, let's stop at like 22 minutes, he's still at a 74% hit rate.
And
So I
yeah,
think scoring is probably the best approach for him if you feel like the volume of minutes is going to rise. So
and
let's
what I like too in this game, you know, the spread is creeping up, and you know, maybe this game does get away from Denver. What I did like is, you know, once the game got out of hand on Saturday night against Dallas, and they brought all the bench guys in, Mann was the only guy who stayed out there to finish the game out. So he's, you know, I think he's kind of blowout proof in that sense. So if this game, you know, kind of does get away, I think you'll still see Mann out there, which is always nice.
Yeah, I don't actually see this game getting out of hand.
I
And
don't either.
quite honestly, I would take the Nuggets plus 5.5 points.
I
Like,
agree.
I think the Nuggets,
agree with you.
you know, slot in. You know, they have KCP, they have, you know, they have MPJ.
They're a machine. All they need is Jokic.
They have a machine of acronyms, so they'll be fine. All right, let's talk about MPJ. We had an emergency PTM meeting before we went live tonight, and we talked about MPJ. We were trying to figure out like who benefits the most from Aaron Gordon being out, and that just led us down to a path of looking at MPJ, who was already in a good spot for scoring, already in a good spot for rebounding. But with or without Gordon, MPJ is just in a great spot tonight. So we like his scoring, we like his rebounding, but the thing that we liked the most was his PR. Oh wow, that's come up a bunch, huh? It was at 24.5 when we were looking at it earlier. It's already up to 26.5. So the lines
Wow.
have caught up. But let's just look at this year. I still think it's a pretty you know, he's hit this. Let's just look at his last 10 games. You know, he's hit this in 9 of his 17 this season, but in the last 10, 6 of his last 10. So pretty good spot. And then Tom was pointing out to me on 0 days rest, you know, this season, he had cleared 25 twice. But, you know, that line coming up to 27 is now making this more challenging. What do you think? You still play it at 27, or are you maybe pivot to points or something like that?
Yeah, that is
Like in a matter of 45 minutes, that changed from 25 up to 27.
yeah.
So
Yeah. I guess that was the news with Gordon, right? I mean, he's got, you know, even before, I mean, he had a phenomenal matchup in this game. And gonna go to him now. I think it's probably still good.
yeah. Yeah, I think either way. I think play his points, play his PR. I think they're both good plays in this game. So Michael Porter Jr., we had him at 24.5. You could probably play him up to 26.5 in this game PR.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice. I
Anything
saw
else in this game?
on this, no, but I did see we had a couple comments in on YouTube here. I don't know if we want to, from Gabriel Miguel to if we go to that Washington Detroit game. Sorry, you probably sent these earlier on in the podcast, but he was asking about Cade Cunningham over 3.5 turnovers, and also Jordan Poole 6.5 RA. I don't know if you want to take a quick peek at those.
Yeah, so Cade 3.5
Cade, man.
turnovers, got tremendous hit rate. So let's just see the home away splits. Yeah,
Wow.
you would think he'd be more comfortable playing at home.
Yeah.
But yeah, he hasn't missed a single game at home this year. So yeah, go for that one. I like that.
Nice. Yeah, not something I that we look at much just because it's not available on a lot of books. But yeah, there's definitely some serious value.
And then the other one was
Poole RA. But
Jordan Poole, RA. I know his rebounding and assists have both been on the rise. Yeah, that seems like a pretty good spot. Let's see.
and what happened? Did he didn't play last game? Did he? I wonder if he was hurt or was that some sort of
know.
like coach's decision DMP? That would scare me.
He's also a
but-
game time decision for tonight on RotoWire, but projected to be in the lineup. So I would personally lay off a Poole. I don't know. It does seem like a really good play, is given his history and the matchup here, and the the volume of missed shots in this game is going to probably be through the roof. So I think rebounds and assists is probably good if you're going to play it, but I personally would want some clarity on what's going on with Jordan.
Yeah,
Poole
it's
before
he was
this.
sat out. He sat out on Saturday's game against Atlanta with he had a sprained left ankle. So
Okay.
yeah, I
All right,
would
cool.
probably
You got
lay
any
off
more?
as well. Yeah. No, I think that's it.
All right, very good. Good show. Lots of content. Hopefully we get some of these up on X soon and create some nice parlays for tonight too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, let's
We'll regroup after this and take a look at that Embiid AD parlay. See if we can get that up on X. But nice work. Good pod. Looking forward to these games. We'll get a couple other picks up on X.
tonight. What do you say?